Welcome back to the MMA Plug, presented to you by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM, Mile High Sports Radio here in Denver, Colorado. I'm Jordan Kurtz, sitting here alongside Josh Fremd. Josh and I are about to go 3 rounds. This 3-round segment is brought to you by Mad Kingdom Insane Supply Company. Make sure that you check out emadkingdom.com for the latest and greatest in your fightwear, fashion, and apparel.
Patricio Pitbull vacated his Bellator lightweight title today, saying that his entire focus is on winning his featherweight title back and avenging the loss to AJ McKee. What are your thoughts on this mindset for Pitbull?
I think that based off of the full statement that he put out, he mentioned that a big part of him pursuing martial arts as his livelihood or being a martial artist is the honor to it. Yep. Not the money, not the fame, not the accolades, all of that in that regard. It is the honor. So he said that his entire goal and focus is on recapturing that featherweight title and getting that rematch and beating AJ McKee. He felt that it was not the honorable thing to do to hold up that division at 155 pounds because he had no intention of defending it anytime soon. Also somewhat of a chess move in that regard, and he gives up his belt. Well, who slots in for the title shot for the vacant title? His brother, Patricky.
Yeah, and I mean, like you said, coming from a martial arts standpoint, the honor, that's completely understandable. And being able to feed that to your brother, he gets to slide in and take that, make it a family affair, go back down and get that from 145 from AJ McKee, which is going to be very difficult, mind you. And then his brother has an opportunity to also become a champion. So, interesting move. I think financially, it's a little like if we're putting money on the table here, I think it's interesting to give up the title at 155 instead of going back, taking that fight, and then possibly defending it, having that payday, and then having another payday when you go back down for the rematch with AJ McKee. But pure martial artist right there.
Yeah, definitely. Like I say, you can only tip your cap that he decides not to go with the money move.
Yeah, very respectful.
Mic'd up footage of the moments following the Nick Diaz vs. Robbie Lawler 2 fight was released this week. What do you make of the exchange between the two legends?
I'm not crying, you're crying.
I'm totally crying, dude. This is what... I mean, when you're in the sport at a young age and you mature through it, these guys are at the end of their career and they've been there, they've done that, they've seen it all, and you understand what this sport actually is. You know, it's about the camaraderie, it's about the relationships you forge through this entire journey of martial arts. And yeah, all the facade and the hatred, and you have to sell fights, obviously, but when it comes down to it, every person that you've shared that cage with, you respect them on another level than another person that you've seen out in your day-to-day because they've shed blood with you, they've sweat, they've shared tears, they've went to battle with you, and coming out of it, you always have respect for someone like that.
Definitely, and that's something that just goes to show how much of a quote-unquote real one Robbie Lawler is.
Yeah.
You know, Robbie... The matchup was tough for me because it felt like in so many different ways or so many different times it was like, oh, all we're doing is talking about Nick and we're not giving Robbie his due. And, you know, I probably did talk about Nick a lot more because I'm such a big Nick fan, but Robbie is also one of my all-time favorites, and it's just because of things like that. Robbie being such a true, raw, ruthless, real dude in the game. Him coming up to Nick after like, hey, man, like, are you good? And Nick's like, yeah, I'm good. No, like, are you good, like, in life? Because that's different.
Yeah. Yeah, that's different.
And just right then and there to have that sort of moment, that was like, oh, man, like, that's the grown man's version of, like, The Notebook.
Oh, that's an interesting comparison there. But, yeah, I mean...
I'm just saying something that, you know, like oh, man, like this is our tearjerker.
Yeah, it gets the waterworks going, for sure.
Yeah.
Today marks 3 years since the most infamous brawl in UFC history when undefeated champion Khabib Nurmagomedov McTapped Conor McGregor and then jumped the fence and launched an eagle kick at Dylan Dennis out in the crowd. Was this MMA's version of the Malice at the Palace?
I want to say yeah, because Jordan, let me tell you, I can tell you exactly where I was. DC, Buffalo Wild Wings, had a picture of Bud Light in my hand watching this fight go down, and after all of the craziness that went on with that. That's just gonna live on forever. That was not something that you see from Khabib ever. And then for that to happen in that type of circumstance after just dominating McNuggets, it's crazy. It was crazy.
I'm going to counter that and say that it's not. I can't really call it the malice in the palace because it wasn't a fan involvement situation.
Yeah,
the way that was started. But is it the most
MMA's
infamous
version?
MMA brawl out there that kind of spilled out into the crowd? Potentially, it's hard to argue that one versus the Mayhem and the Diaz brothers and the Scrap Pack.
Yeah.
Those are probably the two most infamous. But Josh, I actually, oddly enough, I can remember exactly where I was when the Conor fight happened. There was a local Southern Colorado promotion that used to be around that doesn't do shows anymore, but it was Nemesis Fight Promotions, Renegade Fight Night down in Pueblo, and Markel Medeiros won that night by a knockout, and Selena Rowland won by an Americana. So I remember that Yusuf, actually, we might have been watching it off of Yusuf's phone. I can't even tell you. But we were in the back tent area watching as all of this was going on.
Oh, wow.
Like complete insanity.
That is complete insanity.
Yeah, so, it's just kind of crazy that was such a profound event, though, that we're able to recall exactly where we were, what was going on, and what was happening that night as it was happening.
Crazy stuff in this life of MMA that we live here.
Absolutely. We sound like a bunch of nerds over here. We might as well start building Legos. Bunch of nerds. But just like that, we're already out of time. Threw me off for a second with that accent there. but yeah, this is the MMA plug presented to you by DenverSportsBetting.com. I'm Jordan Kurtz. Any final thoughts today, Josh?
Jordan, I love doing this show. It's a fun time. We get to sit here and just talk about MMA and life, and I just have a great time every week doing this.
Definitely. You can follow Josh online at Josh Fremd MMA. Follow me at Comments from the Peanut Gallery. Check out that UFC Road to UFC 39 with Chris Gutierrez on the Comments from the Peanut Gallery YouTube channel. We want to thank our guest, Yusuf the Moroccan Devil Zalal, for coming on. Want to thank Danny Bailey behind the glass, holding it down, making sure that the wheels stay on the track for us. DenverSportsBetting.com CEO Ryan Garcia, our executive producer, and Anilo Piro. We want to thank our sponsors in the Grand Z Sports Casino, DenverSportsBetting.com, MyFitFoods, Eat Fit, Live Fit, Give a Fit. Go to www.myfitfoods.com. Use the promo code Peanut Gallery for some extra value there. Also, Comments from the Peanut Gallery and the Mad Kingdom. This is the MMA plug presented to you by DenverSportsBetting.com on 98.1 FM Mile High Sports Radio. I'm Jordan Kurtz, sitting here alongside Josh Fremd.
Yeah, little thick bitch, fine little mamacita. Always coolin' by the pool, drinking margaritas. Yeah, it's pippin' over here and we ain't trippin' over pesos. I know it's good now, but luego, I can never show no love to a faker.